to do. You the computer. All right. So we're live. We're live, ready to go. So okay, how do we do this? So welcome to the first ever podcast. It's the Elevate Above Fear podcast with myself, Jonas Russo, and
Shantae Campbell.
all right. And, we are here as two regular people in the community who's doing work in the community. Just we kind of want to talk about like real stuff, right? Like we want to talk about, like practical things that everyday families can do in order to like elevate above fear, right? So one of the biggest fears that we have in our community, in the Black community, is with money, right? Like what do we do? So we about to get $6, $7, $8, $2,000 from the government, right? What do we do with it? Not everybody needs it, right? Like some of us, if we got it, you want to save it, or you might even want to put it in the stocks, right? But that's scary, right? Putting it in the stocks is scary. Ms. Campbell, what do you know about stocks?
A very little. I just started researching it, and I'm embarrassed to say that because we have a whole online course that we've been running for the past 2 seasons on stocks. I should have been paying attention, but I'm one of those scared people, scared to invest my money. My mom just convinced me to invest $40. So I invested $20 in Tesla and $20 in Apple. And I did that on the Cash App, because you could invest in stocks now on Cash App. And so far I'm at $50. So now I'm rich now. So it's got me thinking now, like, maybe we could put the stimmy.
Right. Now, one of the main things that I always hear is, bro, I am not gambling my bread. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. Like, all stocks is a gamble and X, Y, and Z, right? And it's because it depends on where you get your information, right? And, we run an organization that has an actual stocks class, right? Like, we have a stocks class for the kids. And I am saddened to say myself, I was like, hold on. We about to get this bread. We about to get this stimulus money, and I want to put it in the stocks. I really don't know what to do with it. Like I don't know where to go. Like who do I go to? Like who do I speak to? Then you start speaking to people and like, oh well, that's not enough. Or if you do this, and it's so much information out there. So in an attempt to kind of try to condense this, I said, well, what am I going to do? Let me hit up the stock man himself, right? William Holmes, and let me ask him, hey, what should I do with this money? Right. But then I thought, so we were on the phone, and I thought to myself, hold on, pause, bro. This is going to be kind of selfish. Let's just run it, right? Like, don't even give me the answers now. Let's do it. Let's do it live on the podcast, and let's run it and let's make it lit. So I'm not going to talk no more, man. I'm going to bring in the man himself, the stock strategist, William Holmes.
Hey,
Mr. Holmes, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me. Jonas, Shantae, what's going on? What's up?
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
All right. So, big thing for us in our community is, is money, right? Like, yeah. And the stock market is a scary, scary place, right? So, if you go back in our communities, they've told us for a long time that you can't do math, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it gets a little scary, right? So, even when you build up the courage to go and say, you know what, I'm going to get on an app and I'm going to go. Now you see all these numbers, go here, go there, go. Whoa. So, we're a regular family. We want to invest this money strategically, right? So, what are some ways that a family can go about investing into the stock market? Matter of fact, first of all, like, what is the stock market? What does it do? Like, help us out, brother.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. So, Jonas, I'm glad you asked that question, right? So, first things first, that was one of the first things I thought when I first got invested in the stocks or thought about getting invested in the stocks. No one that's investing in stocks looks like me. Everyone that's a billionaire, millionaire, or who's known for stocks is rich and old and white, right? So there's really no one that really looks like me. So what business do I have doing that? And that actually kept me out of the market for years, right? I didn't even think about. I may have had an idea on the market and was like, hey, listen, I should buy this stock and trade this stock because I know it's just going to take off. And there were years where stocks that I called actually did take off, and I just didn't partake in it just because I didn't even think it was possible for me to make money in the stock market and get signed up. But I want to share this quote with you from Warren Buffett. And he says that you do not need an IQ of 120. You probably have 40 more IQ points than you need to be great at trading stocks. And you also only need a 6th grade math education to be great at investing in stocks. And that blew my mind. So I would start with just saying that the first things first is that you can make money in the stock market. And Shantae, shout out to you for just putting that $20 or $50 that you put in and actually making some money. That's a start, and that's dope. Like, that's how you first get started. So shout out to you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So second thing I would say for people to get started is really first things first. I want to just dispel the notion that you're going to lose all your money in the stock market, right? You can put certain things in place and that are very simple, and you can look them up on YouTube. That can stop you from losing all your money, right? So you can put you can press some buttons, and if a stock falls below a certain number, it'll automatically sell all your shares. Okay, and you can save some money that way, right? So that's called a stop loss. But for people that just want to get started in investing, I would start with something called an index fund. That's probably the most popular thing that everyone's talking about. So what is an index fund? It's imagine taking this book, and this book. They all have different prices. Okay, right? This is maybe $10. This is $100. This is $50. Now, what people have been able to do now is they will take these individual stocks or books, they put them together, and then they slap a sticker on a price tag and say, you can buy all these books for $15 instead of buying them all individually for their own price. Okay, and then depending on how these move in price, your index fund or your stock will move in with it also. I hope that makes a little sense about what index funds are.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is basically it's like a stack, right? Like you stack in different stocks, right, together. So I'm assuming like they're like stocks, like there's stocks that are similar, right?
They are stocks, yep.
Yeah. So like you're grouping them together and you're purchasing into the group.
Exactly. So you're buying like a bundle. It's like instead of I'm buying them individually, I'm buying a whole bundle, right? And so you're buying that bundle for a certain price. And typically the price is cheaper than a lot of the stocks inside of it.
All right. So, all right. Let's keep it real elementary, my dear.
Got
right. I got $600.
Right. All right. I wonder where it's coming from.
I'm trying to flip my 600, right? So I'm trying to find a way so I don't have to put the baking soda in and mix it up. I want $1,200 right now, man. How do I turn my 6 to 12?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, Jonas, because there's this fallacy now coming out about the market that everyone can turn 6 to 12 in like 5 days. And
this is what I'm hearing. I go online and I see it. They got the little captions, right? I took $100 and I turned it to 100,000. I said, that's never happened with my $100. And I'm, so like, teach me the way.
Oh yeah. All right. So typically, right, first off, it's super important when you're paying attention, like anything, like timing is so important, right? So the reason why stocks are really shooting up and really it's so popular for everyone is because of the current monetary situation happening in the United States of America. Like, one, interest rates are so cheap, right? Like, it's easy to get a car. It's easy to get a house. What are mortgage rates at? 3.4%, 3.5%? That's the record lows. So what happens when there's cheap money out there? Who's able to borrow cheap money? People that have great credit and businesses that can borrow this cheap money. So what do? People borrow cheap money and they take it and they put it where? Right? If you got money, you're trying to grow it, right? You have to put it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So where do people put it? They've been putting it in the stock market. Okay. So people have been, or these, big money has been flooding the stock market with this money, which is causing all these prices to go up. right? Which is why you're seeing this kind of quick money. That coupled with the coronavirus and stocks rebounding from their lows is causing this kind of like fervor of market activity. So it's super important to realize like when you're literally like, how do I say it? Like a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And I think it's hard for people to really understand that, but it's such an important part in investing.
But see, like,
that makes
so
sense.
even when I hear you talk right now, right?
Was that crazy? There you go.
Yeah, like you gave the Warren Buffett thing, so you don't have to have an IQ. And I'm hearing it like, to me, that sounds pretty much IQ-ish, right? Like I'm trying to. It's very simple to me. I take $600.
Yes.
I go take this mixture. I go cook it up, and then I distribute it on the street. That brings me back $1,800.
Right.
I take another $6 from that, put my 12 away. And then I do it again. To me, that's a simple concept, right?
Okay.
What you just told me was you have to know about the rising and the tides and the waves and the boats, and it's like. But
I'll make it simpler.
What I'm saying is, I don't know that, right? I'm saying I don't know nothing about a boat, a tide. Like I'm literally getting in the water. Like I am like I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Got it.
How do I like? So because this is something that we spoke about. That's one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up.
That's true.
You know,
got it.
You have to be like in the game, right? Because this is what I was really trying to get you to get to. You got to really be in the game to flip bread like that, right? So just like you on the street, you got to be in the game and in the know to flip the bread like that. You got to have the corners locked off. You got to know when the police is coming. You got to know when the high tide is rolling in. You got to know when TNT is out. All of that. You got to be. You have to have an ear to the street, and you got to be doing that every single day. Same thing with the stock market, right? You got to be. So that I think that thing was called. What was it? The one like day trading, right?
Yeah.
So it's day trading, which is the one that like is a quick flip.
Yeah.
Correct? Right. So my thing is that most like so if I have $600, I don't want to get into day trading, correct?
No.
Right.
Well. You know what? Let me take this back. Depends how important that $600 is to you.
Listen. Listen. I just got a stimulus check. You understand? Yes. If I just got a stimulus check, that means that the $600 is important to me. Whoever didn't get a stimulus check, then it'll they are right because they over that $85,000 a year mark, right? If I got a stimulus check, I probably need that stimulus check. You feel me? And
yes, I would agree with you. At the same time, it's like, okay, well, if you have that $600, like. For you to say, hey, listen, I'm going to build my generational wealth off of this $600 stimulus, like that is not going to catapult you to the moon. But what you could do, right? If you need to use that $600, there's two things, right? If you want to use that $600, to pay groceries, rent, all that stuff. Like if you need that, then you shouldn't be talking about stocks, right? Stocks are only if you have money that you're essentially okay with losing. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of past that level of, OK, now, you have to be a little, I'm not gonna lie, like you should be, a little comfortable. Don't be putting your last dollar into the market because it'll eat it all up. It'll eat it all up.
So that should be your disposable income is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Right. Shante.
Yes.
I have a quick question. And then after we got 2 questions in the chat that we could get to real quick. But OK, so people like Jonas and I who don't know that much about the stock market.
Yeah.
And what would be like the top 3 things we should look for when thinking about investing?
Yeah, definitely. So first things first is really, do you know the company? That's the most important thing, right? Do you know the company? Do you know what they do? Do you know who buys their products? Know the company that you're investing in. Because if you know how it makes this money, then you can see the growth going forward, right? Mm-hmm. So when people are buying stocks, you're buying a stock because I think Apple is going to grow bigger than where it is now, right? So you have to have ideas on where the growth can be. And this is where the fun part comes in, right? Like, you, Jonas, and anybody else that you're friends with, hey, what do you think Apple's going to come up with? Actually, have you heard them talking about this and that? And and when you hear or when you really believe in a big growth story, that's when you invest. All right. So that's one thing. Know the company. The second thing would be to put a stop loss on. That's the second thing. All right. Put a stop loss. All right. What a stop loss is just a number that you were going to sell a stock at. You can have that in your head. You can have that somewhere written down. Have that number in your head. Some people say 7%. If it goes below 7%, you get out, or below 10%. Where people start biting their nails and going crazy is when their stock is down 50%, right? And they're like, oh, I hope it comes back up. So make sure you have a level that you're going to get it out at.
So do your research
Yeah.
first and foremost, right? So just like with anything, right? Become knowledgeable about where you're going to invest, right? Take some time out your day and look at, the market, so on and so forth. And then, man, what was the second one?
Stop loss. Put a stop loss. I'm taking notes, Will.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. It's called a stop log.
Loss. Stop loss.
That makes sense to me, right? So if I say, look, I'm going to invest $100, right? And I say I don't want to go below 10% of that $100. So once I hit $90, they selling it off the rip. I will never have to worry about going below that percentage that I put. Is that correct?
That is spot on. And I grabbed this book. This is a really great book on how to make money in stocks. And it's very, very simple. The advice they give, if it hits 7%, you sell. 7% loss, sell all your shares. They keep it simple for people, right? Just stick with that.
I love that. All right, so let's get into some of these questions. We have a ton of questions in the inbox. Let's go to the first one. All right. So, are the stocks in the bundle similar to stocks as I asked, or any stock you want to put in the bundle?
That's a good question. So the bundles are based off of topics, right? So you could have for instance, what's one, like electronic vehicle bundle. So all the EV stocks would all be in one bundle. So it would be like Tesla and NIO and Workhorse and the other EV stocks. They would all be in one bundle. So they're all typically industry specific stocks.
Got it. I like that. Index fund. Yes.
Index fund. Okay.
Yeah. So index fund are bundled industry stocks.
Exactly.
Okay.
I like that. See, we just got something here, right? So now we getting somewhere. Love it. Another question is, what is day trading? I guess I brought it up, and maybe I thought people knew, but what's day trading?
Yeah. So day trading is when you essentially trade and get in and out of a trade in one day. So if I buy a stock at 8 o'clock and I sell it by 12 o'clock, that's considered day trading. And the reason why it's important is because you're only allowed 3 day trades, I think, a month in Robinhood and other brokerage accounts. Like they cap you.
Got it.
Unless you have over $25,000 in your account.
So that makes sense, right? Like I guess most things are exactly as they're said to be, right?
Yeah.
Trade for the day, right? So you trade that day, and I understand why it's appealing, because if I trade at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I just made $500, and now I just made $500 in that day. So those are the quick flips that we're speaking about, right?
And yeah, they're possible. They are possible,
but unlikely.
They're possible, but unlikely. And like you said, you got to know the game.
Right.
And so the more studying you do, it's not impossible. Like I'm not, I'm somewhat intelligent, but it's just I love stocks, man. I love reading about it. I love talking about it. I love teaching about it. So I'm able to see certain things. And if you love it, then you will. But even if you don't love it, and you are just observant of culture and what's going on, especially Black people, like we gotta stop taking this for granted, because we see things before other people do, right?
Right.
Industries and companies invest in what's the culture, what's hot, right? And we create that, so we see it first. Crocs, Popeye's chicken sandwich, like there's like the Elf makeup came out, like those things when they hit in our communities, we should be paying attention to them. Because chances are someone else is going to buy it.
That's a whole fact. I know to myself that that's our biggest thing, right? Like we have to become more. No, we are engaged in in the society and what's going on, but we now have to become active, right? Like we need to start like moving and shaking and saying like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm looking around the hood and everybody got these little skateboard things that move by themselves. First, I saw two people. Not everybody know they got it. How y'all get it? You know what? Let me look that up. Oh snap! It's low right now. Let me throw $50 on that, and then 6 months later, when everybody else watch us with it and say, "Yo, this is popping," and they jump on it. Now you just made bread off of observing what's going on around you. To me, that I feel like that's the way in which we need to maneuver. I don't think so. One of the other we're going to discuss with everyone is not using this as the end all be all, right? Like for me, if you got $600 and you need you're getting your stimulus check, hey, you got it, but now it's giving you some disposable income. Like the stock market shouldn't be an end all be all, right? Like you should be able to have different ways of bringing in a little extra bread, or even if you have a savings account, right? Like that savings account is only producing like what 0.1% in the bank,
0.02,
right?
bro.
0.02. That's ugly, right? That's Tyrone Hill ugly, right? Like it's ugly. That was a basketball player back in the days. Tyrone Hill. He was like
I don't know who that was, but it sounds funny.
But so my thing is like the stock market, even if you put it in, so some of the things that we spoke about earlier was some more stronger or firm investments, right? Where they were more long term, right? So we talked about some things where you would invest in, and it might give you say $100 at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
But if you left it in the bank for that whole year, it'll give you like 36 cents. So you understand, like, but I don't think people just don't know that. I think that we just don't understand that, listen, you could put it in the stock market in a much more safer space, and it's going to yield you a greater return than if you just had it sitting in the bank anyway.
Marlboros, like
the cigarettes.
They're owned by Altria.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty almost positive by Altria. They pay an 8.5% dividend. If I put money into Altria, yes, what is dividend?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was just about to go into it.
To get to it.
Well, you can't do this to us, brother.
And we have more questions in the chat, but I was waiting to ask about dividends. Yep.
I am. So a dividend is like cash back. Literally, when you find a dividend yield, look, when you say, when you look up a stock on Google, if you just type it in right now, Google, pull up a stock, under it, one of the things will say dividend yield, DIV yield. So that tells you how much money the company is willing to pay you for owning the stock.
Hold on, wait.
Yes, brother.
I'm writing it down.
I just gave you that. What you talk about? You talking about? Right. Yeah. So just for owning stock, they gonna piece me off for some bread.
They pay you back. It's like, hey, thank you for investing in us. I appreciate you.
Wait a minute. I got it.
Money.
Because I'm a shareholder.
Yes. Yes.
You see,
you own them. You're an owner.
Here's the thing. As a community, we don't see ourselves as shareholders. We always hear about businesses doing for their shareholders, right? Like, oh, you got to pay for the shareholders. This one, we got to do, once our shareholders are happy. But we can become a shareholder.
Yeah, like that. You could have become a shareholder in the past 20 minutes while we're on the line.
That's
so simple nowadays.
Now, does every stock provide dividends?
Great question. High growth stocks, newer, fast, high growth stocks do not. And why? Like a Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, definitely not. Those high, fast growing stocks, and why? Because they're taking that money and reinvesting it back into the company so they can grow faster. Older, big companies, Exxon Mobil, anyone pump gas, right? Altria, big cigarette. These companies are big, fat, and old. They're not that worried about growing that fast, so they're willing to pay you out money to keep you there as a shareholder, right? We're not going to grow it. We're not going to grow at 50% like Facebook, but we'll break you off some bread so that you invest with us. It's a trade-off.
Wow, that makes sense.
Apple, I'm sorry, Apple does pay a dividend now because they've gotten so big now that they're not going to, double in the next year, but they pay a 1% dividend. And Microsoft pays what dividend do they pay, babe? Microsoft. Okay, Apple's I know 1.2%, but so back to Altria, right? The cigarettes, and I know some people aren't really into investing in cigarettes, and that's okay. 8.5%. Okay, I put in $10,000. All right, I'm going to get that's 80%. I'm going to get, it doesn't sound like a lot now, but I'm going to get $800 back every year for the rest of my life as long as they pay dividends. Right? So it's 8%. What are you getting in the savings account? 0.02%. What are you getting in a high yield savings account? 0.5%. What are you getting in CDs? 1%. What are you getting in bonds? 5%. So it's an attractive offer.
Indeed. So that's one of the things that I came across that to me was very attractive.
Yeah.
Which was the what's the name? Which was the dividends, because one of the ways that they broke it down to me was like, bro, think of a T-Mobile, right? That gives out dividends, right? And they do it. What is it? Quarterly?
Yeah. So some are quarterly, some are monthly.
Okay, so say they're quarterly, right? So what's that? Every 3 months, or every 4, 12? Yeah, every 3 months. And there's like, so say you get $300 every 3 months, and your phone bill is $100 a month. Every 3 months, T-Mobile is paying you to pay your bill. It may not sound crazy, but just by investing your bread into a market, they're into a company that you're already using. They're paying your bill for you. Now imagine you do that in 2 or 3 different, right? So say you do it in General Electric, right? So you get dividends from them, and you do it in whoever has your car payment, right? Now you get your car payment, your light, and your what's name taken care of for that money that you invested on a one-off. To me, that looks sexy. I like that.
It's super sexy, bro. I love it.
We got another question here. We got a few, but we're gonna try to what's the name? Boom, 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 boom. What about fraction buying?
Oh my God.
Fraction buying?
Love it. I love fractional shares. So that's how Shantae is able to get access to Tesla. And why I'm such an advocate for fractional shares is because this changes the game. It allows an entire type of investor to get into the market that originally could not get into the market, right? So you have young kids who can now take their $20, $10, $15, or even adults can take their money and they can have access to one of the greatest economic engines in the world, right? Berkshire Hathaway costs over $350,000 to buy. Unless you're a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, you can't even get access to play that game. Now with fractional buying, you can buy 5 shares. You can get in on that, right? You can buy $5 or you can buy $10 worth. There's no barrier to entry anymore.
How does that work? Because I mean, if you had to, what would you say, 350,000 just to get in?
Yeah, 350,000.
So how does it go from? You say like those things don't make sense to me, right? So if it was only 350 could get you in, how can $5 get you in now?
Because one share of Berkshire Hathaway costs $350,000. So now with fractional buying or fractional shares, which is
it's a fraction of the share.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. That's a game changer, man. Think about it. You start seeing stocks that are like $1,000, and there are a couple like that, a couple hundred that stops most ordinary people from buying, right? But now you can get $5, $10 in. There's nothing stopping the regular person from buying shares in anything.
It's just
it's going to change the game.
It's just obviously it's slower because it's not that much money. So it's kind of like you just put your money in there and forget about it, and then check back maybe like a year later. That's how because I only put $20 in Tesla, and I'm like checking it every day, and it's been like over a month. It's at $50. so I'm like, I might as well just leave it there until I'm ready to invest more money and then check back in a year and see where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say like if you're investing, right? So investing is something that happens long and over time, right? So I would say trades. If you're trading, then maybe you have an idea on something and you're like, hey, listen, this is going to play out in X amount of time. I'm going to make this trade. I think it's going to happen. Investing is long term. That's like, hey, listen, I like Tesla. I want to invest in Tesla for the next 100 years because I like their business model. Like this, they're going to be around. So I'm constantly putting money in. I'm just putting money in. So, for instance, a company like Facebook, I am the biggest proponent of Facebook on the planet. I love the company. I love what they got going on. They just have such market share. I think they can take over the world. And I don't think anything's going to stop them. So for that reason, I am constantly buying Facebook shares. Every month, I don't care what price they're at, I'm buying, and buying. All right, because I'm investing in their long-term growth.
So, okay, I hear all that, and all that makes sense, right? I think one of our biggest issues is that we're is about patience, right? So it's like, I put this in now, I want it back, but what about when I do want it back, right? So like I said, like I get it, like cool, let's run it, right? We do instead of buying shoes and this, that, and the third. Like I could take my disposable income because I get what I need, and I can do it and invest it into a high thing like what's that thing called, like Facebook or whatever have you. Mm-hmm. However, once I do that, and say 17 years now later, like how do I get my bread back? How does that work?
So there's two ways you can make money in the stock market. First one is capital appreciation. The price goes from $5 to $10. You make that $10 profit like anything else, bro. You flip it. And then the second one is the dividends, like we talked about, which is that cash flow, kind of like real estate.
Okay, so
selling it.
So by selling it now, do I have to sell all of it, or can I? So say I got in at $5, right, and then it's sold it sells at $15. But now, do I have to sell the whole thing?
So now with fractional shares, it's great. You don't have to sell the whole thing, but even before that, you didn't have to. So if you have 2 shares of Facebook, you can sell 1 share and still hold on to that 1 share. Now with fractional shares, let's say you only had 1 full share, you can now sell, like a couple parts of that share if you wanted to. So you don't have to sell the whole thing.
Got it. So I would have to, I guess. Well, you don't have to uninvest, right? You don't have to pull all your money. You take out, I guess, what you need.
Exactly. So let's say you grow. I like to look at it like a tree, right? You start planting that seed, right, and you start watering it by putting more money in. Right? You pick the company, you pour it over years. Time taking time. The company's doing better, growing up. Hey, maybe I want to buy I don't know. Maybe you want to buy a car or a boat, or maybe you want to buy something for your kids, or maybe it's a college fund or something, right? You break a little off, take that apple off your tree, maybe a couple apples, right? Sell those, and then you can keep your tree growing, right? You may have to take a little cut from the tree, but it still grows.
Got it. Okay. Cool, Shantae.
No, I'm good. I'm taking notes.
All right. So we got another question then.
Yeah. And then also just some. Oh, I'll answer those first.
Go ahead. Say
I was going to talk a little bit about just like index funds people should check out. SPY and VOO. Those are the S&P 500 index funds. So the S&P 500 is an index fund that tracks the 500 biggest stocks in the U.S., right? If you go on any major newspaper, you'll see the S&P 500, you'll see the Dow Jones, and you'll see the NASDAQ. So the S&P 500 is the 500 biggest companies. You were saying, Shantae?
I was just going to ask you, what is the website again that people can go on to check how a stock is going to research different stocks?
WSJ.com. WSJ.com. So WallStreetJournal.com. You can also go on NASDAQ.com. NASDAQ.com, WSJ.com. You can even use Google, Tesla stock, right? Like Google's got everything. Yahoo Finance.
And if they just want, if y'all want the stock god himself, right? Y'all could just simply go to the project grow, right? And
Appreciate
that's
you on
where
that.
you'll be able to go on there and get all of the stock updates and information you need. You can holler at Will directly, right? If you have any questions that you were uncomfortable asking here, I believe it's at the Project Grow on Instagram, on Facebook. Just go on there and holler at them.
Yes, thank you for the plug.
Also, he's starting the class February 1st with elevated expectation for young people so that they could get all this valuable information and get an early start on things. So
Okay.
stay tuned. Flyers should be going out tomorrow.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right. Let me see.
Cool.
Comments.
Do you have it? Yeah.
Yeah, we have one that was thing. So I like this one right here. So when you get dividends from a particular stock, can you reinvest the money into the same stocks?
Yes. Yeah. You can do
Okay.
whatever you want with it. Let's say you make some money on something, there's a guy, I have no problem shouting out people who do a great job of teaching because it's not all about me. There's this guy named Chris Johnson. He's out there on Instagram. He's actually pretty fire. Go check him out. And he talks about buying income. And he's so right. So right. And it's like he'll make trades and he'll make some money in the trades, sell his stock, and then he'll buy dividend stocks. So he'll get that cash flow. Let me plug my phone in. I got 2%.
So Will is going to be teaching stocks once again to our young people starting February 1st to March 12th. That's just a great way to get into the game real early. And I see one of the comments, when you're young, you can take more risks with stocks because you have more time to bounce back. Right. We have a question here about clean energy stocks.
Clean energy stocks. So I think that there is a lot of hype around clean energy stocks. I am a big believer. So out of all of the vehicle miles traveled in the United States of America, only 2% are electronic vehicle stocks. Right? I read that or 2% are electronic vehicles. I read that in a Barron's article the other day. So there is a lot of hype about EV, right? Same thing when Obama came in, right? A lot of hype around it, a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people excited about it. I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate into those companies necessarily blowing up, right? Mm-hmm. And especially because like oil and gas still runs the world. You think Saudi Arabia, Russia, and especially with the United States of America now being in the top 10 in oil-producing countries in the world, think they're just going to let electronic vehicles and Elon Musk take over the world? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. So there's a lot of pushback with that from that industry, and just so much of the world and the world's infrastructure is set up for the type of way that it is now. So do I like EV in the future? Yeah. But in the short term, 5-10 years, I think there's a lot more hype that I think will actually come true.
Okay. Thank you. What are some of the stocks that you yourself personally have been doing well with?
Yeah, so mine is Macy's. I'm in this Macy's option and Macy's. Yeah, Macy's.
I'm writing all this stuff down.
Yes. Macy's, and please join the band app. If you check us out on Instagram, we actually have a band app that you can join. It's a free community for free. We've got about 30 to 40 people in there, and we're just sharing information on trades that are working. So one thing that's really working for me, I'm up about 50% on it so far, is Macy's, and I've been trading this Macy's options. And the reason for it, my reasoning behind it, is that with COVID vaccines coming out, there's going to be there's a lot of pent up demand, right? Everyone wants to go out, right? Shantae, don't you want to go out for a nice dinner, right? You go out, yeah, right? She said, okay, sure. So like you want to go out, or at least I want to go out. A lot of people want to go out and they want to spend their money, right? There's, when it came to COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. But the type of people that lost their jobs, unfortunately, were lower income individuals. So, in terms of contributing to the mass of the economy, I mean, it was their contribution was relatively small, right? So, if you look at the wealthiest of the wealthy, right, the big money, the ones that have most of their money, they didn't lose any money. If for any fact, a lot of them made money during this pandemic. The reason why I say that is because I'm expecting a big surge in demand for goods in the next year. Okay, specifically for retail stuff. So like retail, traveling, all those types of goods that went awash because of COVID. I think people are going to come back and really love. And then, so that's one thing. So I think retail is going to come back big. Macy's specifically. Macy's is trading near the lowest level since in maybe the past 25, maybe over the past 100 years in their existence. They hit maybe like $4 or $5 a share a couple months ago. All right. So that being said, you have a brand that's been around for 100 years, and they are not at risk of going bankrupt like everyone else is saying. Everyone's putting them in the same ball as JCPenney and all these other retail companies. They own most of their real estate, kind of like McDonald's. Okay. And they've taken a lot of their management and they've replaced them over the past year. The reason why I'm saying all these things these are catalysts. And when you're making a trade, you need strong catalysts. And these, in my opinion, are very strong catalysts. Brand new management team. It's like bringing in a whole, like Jonas is here. It's like bringing in a whole new head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I got a whole new squad. Let's set up shop. Let's get to working. They're ready to work. Okay, right? You got retail coming back. People want to go out and get fly. People are going to want to see each other. I haven't seen you in a whole year. I'm coming in to look fresh. All right? People are definitely going to be buying clothes and looking fresh. Sales are going to be crazy. And then
come cop these elevator bugs fear sweaters if you want to get fresh.
You guys can purchase these. Will, we got to get you one. You like it?
Hey, yes. I like it. I like the colors. It's hard for me to see it, but the colors are fire. I love it.
Of course.
But yeah. So that's my Macy's trade in a nutshell. I hope that made sense, Shante. Hope I didn't ran over too long, but
no, I'm taking notes. It's making a lot of sense, and thank you for going slow because all of this is foreign to me.
Yeah, no problem. I'd say the biggest thing when it comes to stocks, they're like anything else, man. So I like when Jonas was making comparisons to I guess the drug trade, right? But it's like they're like anything. It's like any other product, right? It's just, will this company do better than that company over time?
Right, and I think that's what a lot of this comes down to. I think a lot of people are lazy and they're looking for a quick flip, which is one of the reasons why a lot of folks get got. Right, so they see stuff online and say, "Yo, give me $500. I'm gonna turn that 500 into 5,000." Like a simple flyer that says, "I'm gonna turn your 500 into 5,000." Like the scammers have been telling me, they're like, "Son, like this really worked, B. Like dead ass. Like boom, watch this." Boom. I'm like, "Hold on, son. They just sent you 500." Yeah, son. They just sent you because they're looking for that quick flip. Also, people aren't knowledgeable. And they're scared, right? So it's like, yo, I got this money. I want to if I got 500, let me see if I can send them 100, and maybe that 100 turn into 5 real quick. I don't know. I'm being hopeful. I'm gonna throw it out there and get a will of Jesus, and hopefully something work out. Or you can do your homework, right? Or you can do your homework. You go here, do the research, so on and so forth. Once again, I'm not saying it's the simplest thing in the world. I do believe that there are more resources available now than ever to so that people can make an informed decision. And one of those resources, real quick, is your class, right? So Will has this Ratchet Assets class that happens Saturdays on Zoom, right? If you're interested in it, holler at him. He'll be able to hook you up. Will, you all right? Your thing kind of went out.
Yeah,
quick.
is it I think I lost connection.
Okay, we see you. Yep.
I like the name.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
A little staticky.
I bet. Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing that static too. I don't know what that is.
All right, I'm gonna let you go work on that real quick, Will, and then we'll bring you back on in a second. It's over for you, Will. Yeah. So to bring things back into light, right? We do have our virtual after school program that's going to be taking place. Matter of fact, let me let y'all see this. Oh, my bad. I don't know if you can hear me once I take us off. So we have our virtual after school program that's going to be starting on Friday. Monday, February 1st, 2021, where you can sit down with, you can take a class with Will, have your kids do it. We have a ton of classes from art, drama, stocks, algebra, financial literacy, contemporary dance, and Brazilian and African dance, right? So you have an opportunity to bring your child on, let them engage in something different, right? Like, let's elevate above fear. Let's not have our children out here doing nothing on the weekends and during the weekdays or after schools just because COVID hit, right? When things happen in life, you got to pivot. And this is one of those things where we get to pivot, right? Like, we can complain or we can invest, right? So another one of those long-term investments that we're talking about is our children, right? Like, if we want our children to succeed, we have to, as a group, as a whole, as a family, we have to invest in our children. And that's it. I'm off the pulpit. Will, you're back.
Yes,
Will, do
I'm
you know
back.
anything about am I saying it right? HEPA? I think that's another up and coming electric car.
What's it called again, Shantae?
HEPA. HEPA.
HEPA. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the EV car, Shantae. I'm not gonna lie. It's
Okay.
I stay away from hot stuff. Hot stuff freaks me out because people don't make money. I mean, some people make money on it, but there's just a fine line between when it's so hot and then when it just crashes, and I don't want to get caught up in that. I'm like a snooper. I'm like a detective. I like to find, like Macy's. Who's thinking about Macy's? I like to find companies that people aren't thinking about and people aren't paying attention to because there's more upside there.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's one of the major things about the stock market is that there's a lot of noise, right? So there's a lot of noise. Yo, you got to get in this, you got to get in that, got to get in. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I don't, it's too much. Get it? Like, I'm not doing all of that. In part, some of it feels intentionally ambivalent, right, or ambiguous, right, where it's like, what's really happening, and then like, I'm gonna stay away from that. But I'm watching a lot of our people work a lot harder for $100 a day than some of their people, right? And I'm watching our people go outside and calling themselves entrepreneurs as doing gig work, right? Like, they're delivering food for somebody else, and they're saying, well, I'm an entrepreneur. Bro, you just bust your ass for the whole day for $107. You feel me? You could have made 2 or 3 trades that would have made you that bread in a similar time frame. And this way you could have been able to do you could have been able to take care of some other things as well. So yeah. So okay. I mean, are there any other things that we should know, as first time or novice investors in the stock game?
Yeah, so I would say definitely go back and check that SPY, VOO. Those are stocks that are recommended by Warren Buffett himself. If you're not into picking stocks and tracking particular stocks, which most people are not, right, then go ahead and just buy one of those VOO or SPY, which tracks the S&P 500. The S&P 500 over the past 30 years has returned on 10% or about 10% on average. Okay, average means it could go down 20% one year, maybe go up 10, down 20, up 30. But I would say that's my one suggestion. Index fund, S&P 500, VOO, SPY. Keep it simple. Invest every month and set it in for credit.
So okay, so we have people who didn't exactly hear that. So you said SNY, VOO.
Can I put it in the chat? Can I chat this?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So
SPI.
That's private chat.
Mm-hmm.
VOO.
And all of those are all index, correct? correct?
Yes. So this is the S&P 500 index, VOO, and then you have SPY. I like VOO better because it's just cheaper expense. It's expense ratio, or sorry, expense fee. So these people who create these funds, right? They are managing the fund, right? So they have to buy and sell stocks and make sure that it's tracking everything and do the work. So there's a fee associated with it. With VOO, it's 0.03% what you invest in, and for SPY, it's 0.06%. So still very small, right? $10,000, it's only $6, $3. But as you plan on building your wealth, that small change becomes big change.
Right. So I think that fee he said is about you said that fee is about 0.3%.
Say that one more time.
You said that fee is 0.3% or
0.03%.
0.03.
Yeah.
The fee is 0.03%. So, and that's basically somebody tracking the money for you and making, doing the work for you, right?
They built it. They built that thing, because if not, you wouldn't really be able to track the S&P 500. You have to buy the stocks individually, right?
Individually.
So it's like you're paying them a fee for them putting this product together for you.
Got it. Which makes sense, right? So, if they do well, then you do well. They have an incentive to do well, right?
Exactly.
And it's the biggest thing that I hear about that is that it's low risk, right? Like these are when we get to the stacking and the bundling, right? We're talking about more low risk, right? Longer end investments, right? Diversification, right? So throw some day trading in every now and again, at a low amount, but you really want to, use a lot of that disposable income in some of your more long-term investments. All right, I don't know what's all that noise.
Jones, did you ask me? I don't know. Is that me?
There's a question. He says what he said about HIPAA. So real quick, he said it's too hot. Those car companies, those energy car companies, are too hot, and sometimes they crash just as quick as they rise. Am I correct?
Hold on, I muted this mic real quick because I wanted to see if that was him. I think it was you. Unmute yourself, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, it's still a little. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little choppy. All right, so okay. Yeah, you're doing bad out here in the streets, Will.
So he doesn't know.
You look good though.
From the chat.
Yeah, so Will, do us a favor. Shantae, ask the question again, and Will, if you could just type it in the chat, or when you come back on with the headphones, just let yourself back on. Right. So one of the major things, one of my major takeaways from my conversation. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Perfect. All right, cool. Sorry, what was the question?
No, I think I was mistaken about what HIPAA was, but you don't know much about it anyway, right? So this person would have to probably go online and do some research.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not into the EVs now. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't know about that. So it's over for that. Right. What we're talking about right now is index funds, right? Get into that. So if you got your stimulus bread and you're trying to put it somewhere and you don't want it underneath the mattress, right? Throw it in an index fund, right? Put a stop watch on it. No, what's it called? A stop what?
Stop loss. Stop loss.
Stop loss. Don't put the stopwatch on it. That ain't gonna do shit. Put the stop loss on it, so that you can ensure that you don't go below a certain percentage, so that you can feel a little bit more safe about making these moves. And then educate yourself, man. Like, you understand, like anything else you want to get into at that point, now you want to go and you want to start educating yourself, right? Like you don't want to just you don't want to get into something and hope somebody else like does the work for you, right? You don't want to get in, you don't want to go and buy the groceries and then give it to somebody else and say, all right, well, make the meal, right? Like if you want to buy the groceries, like start learning how to cook too. You feel me? Like it's okay to, hand the ingredients over sometimes, but you gotta learn to get in that kitchen yourself and cook it up, and I think that you should take a loss. I think you should take losses, like so that you can get a feel of what it is and what it's not, and so when you take those losses, it'll help prepare you better as you move forward, because that's my biggest thing, elevating above fear, right? Fear of the loss, right? Like, oh man, we're gonna take this L, so I'm afraid to lose $50, $100. Okay, but if you are doing your research, right, and you're getting a better understanding of it, I think then at that point, you will see greater returns in the end, and understanding that it's not a one-off, right? I think that's one of my biggest things that I want to get across to people. This is not a one-off. This is not a, okay, I put this here and boom, that's it, right? Diversify. Throw some bread here, right? I got some more long-term stocks. I might be doing some day trading joints. I got somewhere I'm getting my dividends off of these jump offs over here. You feel me? So like, even if I if I lose 50 here and I make 100 here, I'm up $50. You understand? Opposed to taking my whole $600 and throwing it into one jump off. So yeah. That's my
name of the game.
That's my game. All right, Tay. Anything else before we get up out of here?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to February 1st.
Yay, me too.
I can actually classes now.
Yes, please do.
Will, any parting words for us?
Any parting words? I would say just start somewhere. Buy your favorite company. Buy your favorite company and see how it moves. Put $10, $20 in. You're gonna spend that $20 on a breakfast sandwich anyway and some food. So at least put in education or a book. Like I put these books here, not just for freaking show, but just like to show you, like I spent years like studying the market and all that stuff. So, pick up a book, start to learn about it, but don't be afraid to try and test, and just absorb it. But it's really not that difficult.
Well, you know what we're gonna, you know what I like for us to do?
Yeah.
Next Monday, that's Martin Luther King weekend.
It is.
Let's do it on that day. Why not? Right?
Why not?
Let's link up. We're gonna link up next Monday. Let's do the same time, 6:00, whatever. And me and Shantae are going to on live. We're going to go and invest. So you understand? Like I want people to know the real. You feel me? Like
I love that. I love that.
Where do we go? Right? We go on Robinhood, or you go on, Ameritrade, or whatever it is, and we're gonna log in. We're gonna create our password. However, you got to bleep some stuff out, right? Because I got some creepers out there, and we're gonna show you what we're doing. You feel me? Like, all right, cool. We're taking this money here. Will, what you think? All right, boom, 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 and we're putting that money over here, right? And then we'll come back the following month and see how we're doing, right? Like, why not?
Got nothing to lose and all to gain. Nothing to lose.
Well, I got $50 to lose. What you talking about?
Yeah.
$50 whole to lose. What you mean, nothing to lose?
With 500 to gain.
Nah, you're right. I got some. I could. I mean, it's Trump bread. You feel me?
Listen, my boy Trump. 5119. I just checked.
Huh?
Can you see 5119?
Yep. 5119.
Hey, there we go.
I think even that, like people are scared of that. When I see that come up on Cash App, I'm like, chill. You're not getting me. I know the scammers. You feel me? You're not getting me. So this is what I'm saying. It's like we need to know, okay, who are the trustworthy people, right, or the institutions that we can go to.
The brokers. I got you.
Remember we had the conversation about Robinhood over Ameritrade, or which the one is the one that you used?
It was Robinhood, TD Ameritrade.
TD Ameritrade, right? And your homeboy was using something else, right? And it was one of those questions about I mean, it's one of those things where Robinhood it's good. Like a lot of people are using it. However, you can't talk to nobody, right? And if I'm a first time investor, like when I invest and I get nervous, I say, "Oh snap! No, I hit the wrong button. I didn't mean to hit 5,000. I meant to hit 50. Right? My fault. Hey, I need that bread back." And then it's like, "Oh, just send us an email, son. This ain't an email situation. I need somebody on the phone ASAP." Right? And then your homeboy was like, "Oh nah, that's why I deal with such and such, because I pick up the thing and then I tell them that I fat finger the trade." I'm like, "What's that?" And it's like basically what you said. You hit a wrong button and then they send you your bread back immediately. That's what I want. For me personally, that's what I want to rock with, because I know I'm a human being. I know I'm going to make a mistake. I know I'm going to hit, and I want to talk to a human. I don't want to talk to a machine. So, I think that that's a good way that, we can go about just even why we chose the institution that we chose. Shantae?
Real quick before we leave, and I saw it in the chat, and I did want to ask you about it earlier, but can you give us your opinion or some insight into the Bitcoin?
Yeah, no, I cannot, but Will can.
Will.
No, but I want your guys' opinion too. So if you look at a chart of Bitcoin, Bitcoin went crazy about 5 years ago, right? Up to about $20,000. And when it comes to investing, history repeats itself. Humans created this stock market. And so humans are the ones buying and selling. And humans typically act the same way. So I say it sounds really philosophical, but I say all that to say that 5 years ago, what happened to Bitcoin? 20,000 on the front page news. Everyone and their mom's talking about it. Everyone's investing in Bitcoin. Everyone's asking me about Bitcoin. What's going on? What happens 3 months later? Tanks down to 7,000, 5,000. So I'm feeling the same level of fervor and excitement about Bitcoin that I felt 5 years ago when it cleared. Now it's clearing 40,000, and it just dropped 10% recently, right? When you have things that go up like this, they have to come down. It's a natural law. Stock markets don't operate outside of natural law. Nothing does.
So to me, that makes sense, right? So that's one of those things that we discussed earlier in terms of like, are you like, if you want to go in and be like a wild west and be like, okay, well, I'm going to,
ride that wave.
I mean, you can, right? Like I said, like there's a lot of people on social media right now that's guessing, say, I got this extra $5. Homeboy look cute on a what's the name? Let me throw him this $500. He gonna give it back. He's trustworthy. Homeboy, like, yo, I can't believe people really doing this, right? Like, this is crazy. So, it's that same thing, right? Like, I guess anybody can make anything look crazy. So, if you want, like, for me, it's be smart about what you're doing, no matter what it is you're doing. If you're going to send your child, no, he doesn't recommend Bitcoin. If you're going to send your child to a school,
sorry, I don't want to say I don't recommend it, but because I like the technology of it, and I do like it, it's just the price it's at now and the way it's acting right now is not. I don't like it there, but I do like it as a store of value and what it stands for. So I would buy it, and I have some at 7,000. Like I bought some at 7,000. Like I needed to see it come down and stay down for a bit for me to accumulate more at a price before it goes up again. If that makes sense.
You don't like it as a hot topic or hot button thing, is what I'm hearing.
It's too hot right now for me. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So he doesn't like. It's not that he dislikes Bitcoins as a company, as a product,
asset class. Yeah.
Or asset class. Right. There we go. Right. But we don't like how hot it is right now to be touching it at the moment, because I as well, I feel as though cryptocurrency is the next wave, and like there's no ifs, ands, buts, and maybes about it, right? Like it's all fake money anyway. Just keep it just call it what it is, right? It's all fake money regardless. Right? Like you can't, like Warren Buffett can't go get his bread. If Warren Buffett right now said, yo, you know what? I want my bread in cash just because I want to Scrooge McDuck it. You feel me? I want to swim in my bread. You feel me? They're gonna be like, nah, you can't do that. So just call it what it is. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Like the future is that. It's just about are we playing too far into the future right now? Because I don't know that we're there.
Timing.
Yeah, it's about time with that because I agree with it. I feel like Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. Period. Like it's the wave. Like it's going to be the thing. So all right. Shantae.
Nope, I have nothing else to say.
For me, this has been informative. I'm a little bit more excited now about what we got going on. We're going to post some stuff on our IG, on our social media pages. Just on some research that we're doing. So this is what I'm saying. You feel me? Like the way we're about to be moving is not going to be different from anything that we've ever done. Like it's going to be real. Like so you're going to be able to go on our IG page or our Facebook or whatever it is, and look and see. Like, okay, hey, like right now we're researching this and we're researching that, and this is the reason why we think that we might go here, whatever. But it's regular stuff. It's real stuff, right? So I really want I want y'all to walk with us from now to when we get to where we at. Right now we are at $0 invested. Right, where we at? January 12th, 2021. We're at $0 invested. We have our stock strategist here, William Holmes, and he's gonna walk us through this process, right? And by the end of the year, we're gonna see where we went, right? And I don't want anybody to be like, oh, but this and that. No, let's do it together, right? Let's rock out. Let's do it together. Let's re-up on those on that stimulus bread together. You feel me? And this way we can say, all right, cool. We flip. Let's go. Let's flip that stimulus bread together through the stocks, right? Let's do it. Let's do it the legal way, right? Let's do it the legal way. I see they just took my man Casanova down for selling his own personal strand of marijuana, but up the block, they're going to allow another person, the ability to do it. It's crazy, right? So what I'm saying is, let's not allow them to continue. Blah 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 blah. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? Let's flip this stimulus bread together, and let's do it the right way, right? And it's nothing special about any of us here, right? We're regular human beings, who wants to do something different, and we'll see January 12th, 2021, what the account looking like. Well, Shantae, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for having me, y'all. Can't wait to come back.
We'll see you guys next week on what's it called? Next week, Monday, Martin Luther King weekend, when we're actually building up, when we're actually going to get our account, take our stimulus bread, and boogie. I'm out on y'all.
All right, I'm excited. Peace. Thanks for having me.